Hi there, I'm Jace the Demon Slayer, or otherwise known as Gabby. I'm the mon behind Jace, and I'm here doing the video. So in this video I'm going to answer a few questions that were in my ask, and then I am going to give a couple of shout outs. So without further ado, let's get started. So my first thing was, how did you develop Jace as a character? Well, that's a really good question because the reason how I developed Jace was I actually just RP'd him. I tried different things, such as different verses from the novels, and tried to get him to develop a little bit before I really got into his verses and how he was as a person. Everyone plays him differently. Some people play him as a little bit more shy, or they a little less self-confidence. I play him as a self-confident person. He shows confidence to everyone. His sarcasm, his wit, even though I'm not very witty. It's true. Um, but I try my best. But with Jace, he's self-confident in almost everything he does. He knows he's a good demon slayer. He knows he's a good fighter. He knows he could do things. Where his actual self-confidence doesn't lie is in relationships, since he, for the longest time, shut himself off to the world. So now he's starting to get into that whole, oh, I'm in a relationship kind of grasp, where I'm trying to make friends kind of grasp, and he's kind of a little, from bumps and bruises and all that, but he's getting there slowly with a couple people. Do you like all forms of Jace? I do. I like how I've created him to be multiple verses, such as we have the main Jace, which follows actually the novels more than the movie. Sorry. And then I love how I have a fallen verse where Jace doesn't actually fall to the dark side because he was possessed, but because he believes in something that isn't there to begin with. He goes there to protect the person he loves, rather than him just going there and being controlled and having no say in what's going on. So it just shows a different side to him, and then I get to also play more of a evil verse. Basically, I got the inspiration for that one from Anakin Skywalker, but let's not get into that one. And then I love his female verse, which is a relatively new verse. I love how I can play him as a her and kind of create the storyline all on my own, but at the same time I do follow the novel series as best as possible, except that of Clary. It's a different kind of verse, it's a different kind of feel to it, and I'm still getting the hang of it, but I think I'm doing a good job. Yay! I love the King's verse, where Jace is in the GOT universe, where, Game of Thrones, the Fire and Ice series, and he's with Daenerys Targaryen, which is kind of funny since he originally wasn't supposed to be, but it kind of happened. We made a crack ship, and then bam, it became a ship. Woo! Anyway, he's planning to become her queen, her king, and he's kind of stuck there, and he's trying to figure out his own way of shadow hunting while trying to stick with her traditions. I also like the new verse, The Immortal Avenger, which is with my Enos character. I'm sorry if I pronounced her name wrong. I'm horrible at pronouncing names, including my own. But basically, he is, in a relationship with a goddess, and he's trying to figure out how to be in a relationship with the goddess. He's not very good with relationship in general, but this one is particular since she's a lot like him, where she likes bloodshed, violence, and all that, and they're both trying to struggle with it together. We're not sure if it's going to happen or not, but he eventually becomes an immortal, the first one out of his species to become immortal, but that's later on in the series. We don't know yet. We're still planning. Don't make any assumptions yet. Then I also like his, other verses too, such as he has the adult verses, which is two different phase claims. He has a child verse where I really get to explore his inner child. I don't do that one very often because there's not already role players out there who embrace the child verse of him. But I would love if one day I have a Valentine and he wants to do it, or maybe even Stefan Munn, who I love to bits, will do it with me. Don't know yet. And then that's about it for his verses, I think. Movies versus novels. Do you even have to ask? I like the movie. I think it's a interesting twist on it, but do I use it for my Jace other than the face claim? Nope, I really don't. I kind of stick with, you know, his actual novels verse. I'm rereading the novels again. I read them before. I'm reading them again just to keep my character updated and make sure I'm still following him as in canon verse, even if I'm doing all his verses or her verses. But mostly I'm a novel girl. I love reading. I picture it as a movie in my head, so I have a certain view of things, and then once I see the movie, I'm like, okay, I can accept it, but I'm not going to roleplay it, except for his face claim, which is really hot. Just going to say that. And his accent. I love it. I play him having an accent, too, because I kind of like that. Why did you start roleplaying? Well, I believe I mentioned this in another video before, but I really started role-playing when, 4 years ago, as Anakin Skywalker, and somebody came up to me and they were like, you know, you write all these fan fictions, you're a really good writer, why don't you actually role-play? And I'm like, ugh, I guess, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not that good with other people, maybe I can't do it with other people very well, and that sounded wrong. But then, of course, I got into it, and then I started going crazy, and I'm not a blog whore, you stupid Sammy. But I really do get into it. I try to play people I know I can relate to, such as, you know, Jace. I relate to him as having a struggle with relationships, but at the same time knowing what I'm good in. So, and plus I relate to him such as his childhood, since I did have a traumatic childhood. I'm not going into that, but I do have family that I know that love me and take care of me, and so that's how I relate to him. Okay, anyway, moving on. So I'm going to do shout-outs now, starting with the person who actually asked me all these questions. Am I Predictable Tana or The Wrong Jedi? I love you, and yes, I did start role-playing with you as my first Anakin Skywalker when I gave a shout-out saying, I need a Snips, I need an Ahsoka, wait, help me, and then you answered, and then the next thing I know, you're like role-playing with me, and then we become best friends, and then we Skype each other all the time, and then you're like, we're doing video chats, and we're like, what? It's really funny. She's Australian. She's hilarious. You will love her. Just roleplay with her, and you'll see. You'll love her. And then she says hyper as I am, and I'm pretty hyper. This is actually me calm. Let's give a shout out to I Crave Death and Destruction, my Sammy, or my Enos. She is hilarious. I love her. We fight all the time on Skype. I don't know why we're friends, but we seriously fight over the smallest, stupidest things ever. But she's so cute. I love her to bits. She plays a really difficult character, in my opinion, to play a goddess of death and destruction and blood, blah, blah, blah. You seriously managed to grasp your character, well, your muse, and you really brought her to life because, yeah, she's part of legend, and we all know legends and characters are hard to do, but does you have somebody who is violent and does extremely well here on Tumblr? It's amazing, and I love it, and I love our verses, I love our Ps, I love our OCC chats or out of character chats. I love it. Okay, sorry. Artisanum, which is my Clary. I love you, and you know it. She also plays she also played at one point my Padme on my Anakin account. I don't know what's going on with that one yet. She is so supportive of me. Seriously, I've known you from the beginning of this blog, and I love our role plays. I love our craziness. I love how we can go from Clace to being lovers to them, fighting to them, you know, just having all these emotional issues, and I love how everything that we do integrates with each other in all our verses, like, you know, when we first started out with them having been brother and sister, to them getting engaged, and then pregnant, and then he goes dark, and then he comes back because she's pregnant, and then blah, 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 everything just mixes together, and it's so cool. I love it. I love you. Thank you so much for being so supportive of me. Okay, next is Seaweed Brains of the Sea. Percy. Seriously, I do love you. You're hilarious. OCC wise, your Percy is seriously so canon from the novels. I literally want to cry because I love your character so much. I love how you could make him female and then use that in one of my verses, and then you make him male and use my female verse. And I love how we just integrate all the verses together and just make them you're like, okay, I don't ship Jace with other males. I'm sorry, I really don't. But only with your Percy. I don't know why. Your Percy just manages to capture me and my Jace, and it's amazing how they can either bicker about the stupidest things, get into a fight in his fallen verse, and then he's his best friend, but at the same time he loves him to bits, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna just torture you by kissing you. Boom, and it happens, and then Percy of course splashes him with water, and it's hilarious. And it's so cool how you managed to bring this character to life, and you really just managed to stick with the novels, and then you're like, what? Is this real? Are we actually talking to Rick Riordan or something? Like, really? Or Rodan, whatever his name is. Seriously, I love you. Let's see. The Queen Snow. Okay, so we originally started RPing on my Anakin account, and then we brought it over to this account where we do her male verse versus my female verse, which is amazing. And I love your character. I love how they're dark. I love how they're not following exactly the show, but at the same time you manage to bring the show, which is the Out or Once Upon a Time show, and she plays Snow White, to life. And you make everything your own. You make this character, you make this RP really fun to work with, fun to answer replies with, fun to just do ask lists. I seriously love your character, and you're just amazing, and we're still getting to know each other OCC wise, but you seem to go along with any crazy plan I have, or I go along with any crazy plan you have, and it's just fun. Okay. Valentine X Monster. Oh my god, I love you. He's my subby. And you just are amazing. Seriously, I wish that we were in the same time zone so we could do more RPs together, but what we have, it just makes me like squeal with joy every time you're on, and every time we do have a thing going on, and it's crazy. I'm sorry I keep touching my hair, but wet hair annoys me. It's just, you're completely amazing, you're completely kind-hearted, and on top of that, your Sebastian is just so you also play my Celine or whatever, Jace's mom, and you also play the Maurice, and I love it, and I can't pronounce name state. Oh my god. I don't know how you people deal with me. And then it's just everything you do is just, it's amazing, and I love your role plays, and I love our role plays, and then I love just reading all your role plays. Stop it. Okay. Waylon Morningstern Lightwood. Okay. That's my OC Anemone. I love her. At first, I was very wary because OCs tend to have a tendency to, I've had a tendency in the past where they kind of take over my muse, and then I'm like, out the door. But with your Anemone, I love it. I love how he has a little sister. I love how I get to play those feels, and then when we RP together, I'm like, you're so cute! Okay, I'm sorry, that was a little freak out. But seriously, you're amazing, and I can't wait to get to know you OCC-wise or out of Muse. The Shadow Hunting Hirondale. Okay, this is Jace's dad, okay? His daddy, his old man. He loves him, seriously. Jace can't get enough of his old man. At first, he was like, great, this is gonna be awkward. But now they're, like, living together in an apartment in New York City, and, like, they're so similar, but at the same time they're so different. And then I want to just hug them both. Like, they're just so amazing. First of all, Stefan has like this guilt trip that he wasn't there for Jace, but at the same time Jace kind of forgave him, but at the same time he's worried and has this irrational fear that his father is going to leave him again and that he's going to be alone, and then he wasted his emotions for nothing. And it's just like they can't get their acts together, but at the same time they're so okay, I'm gonna stop now. But seriously, all of you guys who I gave a shout out to, and there's so many more that I want to give a shout out to, but I don't want to cut this video too long. It's already 14 minutes long. Seriously, you all are amazing. You all are kind, and I love each and every one of you. Those who are new to following me, please feel free to come RP with me. Try to make it so where our muses are meeting for the first time, or try to make it like if they do know each other, they're not like, okay, we automatically know each other, we don't need to do an RP with each other. Just give us a feel. Let us have like a moment where they can meet and they're like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Okay, not just that, but you know. Okay. And then like for the people who are still RPing with me, I do multiple verses, I do multiple RPs. So if you feel like our RP is getting too emotionally, you know, out there, feel free to add an extra one and just have it a comedical relief, or you know, just do something where you want something. Oh, I need that emotion. Come to me. I'm all open for these things. And remember, I love you all, and if you ever want to talk to me, you know where to reach me. I do have a personal blog, so if you ever feel like talking to me OCC-wise and you have questions for me OCC-wise and you don't want me spamming up my dash with these asks, please come talk to me there and I'll spam you there. Alright, so have a great day, guys. I love you. Mwah! Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!